Takeaways.
Resiliency.
This is a full weekend's worth, Brock. This is Mariners, Seahawks, you name it.
Yep. And we'll bounce around. We'll do this a little up-tempo because we all got a lot to say, the four of us, and a lot of things to take away from one of the most epic weekends we can ever remember. Resiliency. Watching the Seahawks game yesterday, watching the Mariners last night, living through all of that journey on Friday night. Both of these teams share an awful lot of resiliency. Back them up against the wall. Oh, my gosh, we got to go to Jacksonville. Oh, my gosh, we're down 3 starters. Oh, my gosh, we're down in the game. Doesn't matter. They're going to respond. Oh, my gosh, we got to go to Toronto after getting hammered on Friday night. We got to fly across the continent. We got Bryce Miller, maybe can pitch on 4 innings on short. It doesn't matter. Just does not matter. Both of these pro teams that we are watching that share that same street, they are resilient suckers, and it was on full display over the last 3 days.
Yeah, it's such an important part of sports these days, Brock, and it's a really difficult thing to define how you get there. How do you become resilient? You know, Pete talked a lot about grit and the whole Angela Duckworth stuff, and that felt always to me to be much more individual about players who understood what it was like to fail and bounce back. Yep. But creating a whole team that shares that personality, especially in baseball, look, some of it happens because baseball players know they've played enough games. They know about the ups and downs of the season. They don't declare it over in July or any other time. It's just the way they're wired. Mm-hmm. But there has to be something innate in some groups, and some of it is just talent that allows them to bounce back.
And it's building trust in each other. Like you're not a resilient crew if I don't trust that Salk's going to give me room, if he's going to tee me up, if when ratings are down, if I don't trust that we're in this thing together, like you don't become a resilient team.
And confidence has to play a role there as well, knowing that you're better than how you played in a loss or whatever. But you're absolutely right. Such an enormous part of this storyline.
Takeaways.
Brock, how many times, I'll go Seahawks, how many times did we reference Mark Schlereth telling us years ago, or maybe it was even Wyman and Bob, that you need to have a war daddy? You got to have a war daddy on the defensive line somewhere, either up front or on the edge, that the other team has to be aware of at all times. Did you hear what he called Leonard Williams during that game? War daddy. Called him a war daddy, not one of the war boys like Jack Flaherty was for Detroit this week. I am awaited in Valhalla. No, a war daddy. Dude, he does everything. He rushes the quarterback from both the interior and the edge. He disrupts constantly. He tackles people. He gets downfield and saves touchdowns 15 yards downfield. Dude, he really is a war daddy. And of all the things the Seahawks have missed over the last 5, 7, 8 years, it's that. Somebody on the defense up front who you have to pay attention to every moment. I am just completely enamored with everything Leonard Williams does out there. I love him.
So then what is the little fire hydrant next to him that's got more
really
sacks? That's got more sacks than Myles Garrett, more sacks than Trey Hendrickson, leads D tackles, 4.5 sacks. What is Byron Murphy? Is he a battle daddy?
I don't know, but I think he's
war
probably benefiting a little bit from the amount of attention that Leonard gets, but he's doing exactly what you're supposed to do in those moments. So, yeah, credit to Byron Murphy as well, but I am just over the moon for Leonard Williams, man.
Takeaways.
I'll stick with the Seahawks here because we've been doing a lot of Mariners. We already talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba is doing more than I think anyone but maybe G. Imagine this year. He now leads the league in receiving yards with 696, and he has 13 catches of 20 yards or more. He's incredible, but I actually wanted to say that I think the tight ends deserve a little bit of credit for the assist. With the run game pretty much non-existent or them having some struggles there, the Hawks have been able to do a lot of their downfield damage to JSN out of those 2 tight end sets where Barner and Arroyo need to be accounted for or where they're big helps in blocking.
Hey, Maura, how good has JSN been? 9 for 124, 8 for 103, 5 for 96, 4 for 79, 8 for 132, 8 for 162. Salk and I don't play fantasy football, but I'm going to guess those are pretty elite numbers.
They seem to be.
Yeah, I have him on a team. He's been pretty helpful.
Oh, yes, you do.
Takeaways.
All right, Lau.
Well, I thought you guys were done here. Morgan finished what she was saying. That's fine.
Oh, no, I was just going to see if Brock agreed that the tight ends are helping him do that.
100%. The scheme is helping. Oh, gosh. JSN with no DK and no Tyler Lockett. He's going to get exposed. Oh, really? I don't know, put some good scheme, bind it all together, make things look the same, mix in play action pass, get under center, move JSN around. Yeah, he's got everything in his holster he needs to be a number one, and he's turned into that.
All right, Lyle, what do you got?
I think somebody's got to say it, or at least put the thought out there. There's a real world on Friday night that Tarek Skubal and Scott Boras made some business decisions.
Whoa. You think Skubal didn't want to pitch one more inning because he wants to get paid one day?
I mean, that man was at 99 pitches, pumping 101. Your season is on the line. How on earth are you taking yourself out of the game? And it's not just me that said it. Goldie said it too. I mean, Aaron Goldsmith tweeted after the game when the Mariners won Game 5. He said, "I'll truly never understand why Skubal didn't pitch the 7th. One of the most dominating starts in postseason history. If Skubal goes one more inning, Vest pitches 8-9, that could have been the ball game." I think there's a real world he might have been making some business decisions. This is a guy that's going to be set to get paid roughly $400 million a year from now, and Scott Boras is his agent. I don't know, man. Seems a little fishy.
That's hard for me to get behind, Lyle. That's hard. It's easier for me to imagine that he's a guy who truly believes in giving it his all and then being honest when he's used it all up. And it did seem in that moment how fired up he was coming off the field in the 6th, like he had just used it all up. I don't know. And you don't know the conversations ahead of time. Hey, give me this, give me that. If you can get to here, he's pitched a lot in the post. I don't know. I'm not willing to say business decision.
Remember those books, Salk? Everything I learned in kindergarten. Everything I learned in baseball, I learned watching Little League Baseball. And all I know is that when Titus's teams through those years would face monsters, and there was this monster from North Carolina we faced in Branson, Missouri. I mean, he had to be throwing the equivalent of 100 miles an hour. We couldn't even if we had a foul tip, it was a celebration in the family section. And then when that monster went out, you breathed life into everybody else.
Yep.
And when he went out of that game, it breathed a bit of hope in everybody else, and wasn't surprised to see them respond right away in the next inning.
Takeaways.
Stars. Oh, we trade DK. Who's going to be our star? Our market's devoid of stars. Oh, the Mariners are good, but they don't have stars. The Seahawks are good, some good blue chip, but they don't have stars. Are we watching some stars emerge right before our eyes this year? We certainly have with Cal Raleigh. Become one of the stars in all of baseball with what he did this year. And, man, I wish that AL MVP vote could wait till the World Series was over, because I think Cal would then win it running away. And as it is, he may lose it. I don't know. Those votes are cast. Those votes are done. We'll find out in the next week or two. But Cal's a star. Julio's a star. Is JSN becoming that kind of star as well? He's got charisma enough to do it, man. You got playmaking enough to do it. Sam Darnold doesn't have big-time aura as a kind of a redheaded grandson of a plumber. But he keeps playing like this. He's going to put himself in the conversation of a tier 1 or 2 quarterback in this league. And we know what those guys become, stars. Yeah, just months ago, right before the season began in baseball especially, we wondered if this market would have stars. I think we're watching them emerge right before our eyes.
Takeaways.
I'll give you another Seahawks takeaway, Brock. One of my favorite things about this year's team so far, and I think I really like this team. I think I mentioned that a few weeks ago, and that hasn't gone away. There's a bunch of things about this team that I just really enjoy. They do a lot of little things well.
Yep.
Special teams, once again, a factor yesterday. The Jags lose out on 4 points with a missed field goal and a missed extra point. Then the Seahawks stop them on an extra 2-point conversion. So, I mean, really, that's 6 points right there. Plus, they had a couple of lousy punts. The Seahawks have really been excellent and had their game really tight in the special teams. Have they missed some kicks? Yes, of course they have. All teams are going to miss a kick or two over the course of the season. But in general, the things that you can really control, I think they've been tremendous in special teams. They also win the middle period, as you mentioned last week.
Yep.
This year, you get a stop, you force the missed field goal, then you kick a field goal, and then you come back and score a touchdown. That's a 13-point swing.
Enormous.
13-point swing
Enormous.
right in the middle couple minutes of the game. That is enormously important. And then the third part of this, they play pretty clean. They're taking 5.7 penalties per game. That's what I looked up last night. I have no idea if that stat is correct, but that's what the numbers showed that I saw, which would be tied for third fewest in the league right now. that's relevant, man. If you don't give the other team free yards, if you are able to cover kicks well and do everything they've done in special teams and then win those battles right in the middle around the half, you got an opportunity to win every game, and they've had an opportunity to win every one of them.
Yeah, I think that just personifies, doesn't it not, chasing edges?
Yes.
Like, be who you say you're going to be. If you're a really sloppy team or you're a penalized team or you're not great in that phase of the game, I'm sorry. You can be talking about chasing edges, but your team doesn't do it. This team seems to really buy into that and get after it each and every week in that regard. It's pretty cool.
Takeaways.
Salk and I have already talked about the environment at T-Mobile Park on Friday a bit, but I just really couldn't get over how packed it still was in the stadium for a long time after while the players were celebrating. When I left, probably at least an hour after the win, there were still huge crowds of people outside. There was a band playing Blink-182 by the Griffey statue with a huge crowd still there. I just think games like that bond you to your team even more. You kind of feel like you went through it with them, even though, of course, they did on a much tougher level. I know, I'm sorry, it's the Red Sox, but that's where I grew up. I remember in 04, those games going to a lot of extra innings and just random people at the bar who weren't even a fan of either team being so invested. And like Brock was saying, we saw that on social media Friday night. So many people being intrigued by that game. And I just think it's a cool bonding experience with the team for those fans Friday night. And I've been to 3 Mariners playoffs games now, and they've all gone extra innings. It's
crazy.
a roller coaster ride, but I think it's such an experience and memory that you'll have for a lifetime.
It's like
To
labor.
be fair, they've only played 4 extra innings, only played 4 games at home during the time you've lived in Seattle. So the fact that
The one game I didn't go to did not go to extra innings.
that's true.
Yep.
That's true. That's really funny.
And you were down in the tunnel waiting for it to end more? What was that like?
Yeah, I was down there with a bunch of the reporters. We were, just all crowded around this little TV. I have to say the Mariner Moose deserves some credit too, because we kept seeing him go back and forth. I think they take him to different parts of the stadium to go up and hype up the fans. He and the people that work with him put in their steps that night, because he was just going back and forth and back
Imagine
and
how
forth the entire
sweaty
6 innings we
Mariner
were waiting
Moose
down
is.
there.
Oh,
The amount of sweat that must go into the Moose.
was that game
night.
not like labor, by the way, Salk?
Was it? It's not something I've experienced.
Just waiting for the birth. Please, are we close? Are we close? Are we
I don't have
dilated
that
network?
experience either. Yeah.
Oh.
The Salk family just goes scheduled C-sections, in and out, see you later. We don't wait around for any of that stuff.
Yes.
Takeaways.
I couldn't help but notice Brock and I used some similar terminology to talk about game 1 last night, and I think it's fair. They stole game 1 last night. That was look, they outplayed the Blue Jays, don't get me wrong. The actual innings 1 through 9, the Mariners outplayed Toronto, but you go into Toronto with an exhausted pitching staff. Bryce Miller's on 3 days rest. Blue Jays are rested. They're throwing their ace. There was plenty of people. If you look at some of the national media going into game 1, they said, look, just a game that's going to be hard for Seattle when you come off a 15-inning affair and you travel on a delayed flight and the Blue Jays are rested. And they go out and they steal game 1. They take it in a game where they were not favored. I thought that was incredibly impressive.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
and that does seem to be what they've done all year long, right? Like
Yep.
each time the odds kind of stack up against them, Lyle, and and I'm not trying to give you grief, but it is honestly why I thought you were wrong on the Tarek Skubal fear. Like, yeah, they've seen that. Every time you start at look at this lineup the Mariners are putting out there today, and this guy's hurt, and why is this guy in the lineup? Oh, they find a way to win 4-2. And look at who they're facing right now, and they're coming off this, and now they've got to face yeah, that's all right. They'll just go out and beat them. Like, they just, for whatever reason, have risen to the occasion in those big moments. And I thought that it did give them a chance last night, even though, you're right, on paper, you look at it and you're like, this should be a loss. Nope. No, they just confound you at every opportunity.
kind of like Serve Pro. They're at their best when it's a mess. Old Viking receiver Mario Casello, shout out to you. I know you were watching the Mariners. You work over there at Serve Pro. But honestly, when everything is humming and expectation, they're okay. But when it gets messy and when it gets hard and when it gets difficult and their backs are against the wall, just how many times do we need to see them respond before we say, yeah, I got faith in these dudes, man. They are going to respond to the call.
Takeaways.
Miss Mora, were you able
Yes.
to roll in the scientific reason why Humpy won?
Yes.
So this comes from our esteemed friend. He was a fisheries major at the University of Washington. A broken femur ended his high school football career and his career early, but he roomed with Kevin Gogan and many of the Husky football players, Salk. He studied the species up in Alaska. He is Captain Tom Nelson of the outdoor line, and he gave us a very scientific reason as to why Humpy finally delivered in race number 85.
It's time to give the lowly Humpy its due. Yes, it is the least desirable of all 5 species of Pacific salmon, but in an odd year, in its migratory year, it will not be outdone. Remember, Humpy's only run in odd years, such as 2023, 2025. The Humpy is abundant, the Humpy's fast, the Humpy's athletic, because this is a Humpy year. Ankarika Skorbushka for the win.
What was that last part?
That's a scientific name. That's not the word that I used.
I thought we were going to Russia with the babushkas.
Babushka? Yeah, that's how I heard it.
It's an odd year. So it's an odd year.
What's the dance in the Addams Family? The mamushka.
It is Encore, ONCORHYNCHUS, Gorbushka. Yes.
Gorbushka. Ah.
Gorbushka.
All right, we got to get Gomez Adams out here to talk about that.
Thank you, Nelly.
Takeaways.
Did you think Cal was safe in the first inning yesterday?
I think so.
I would have challenged it.
I think so. But
It is
I
one of
can't
those plays.
think to challenge. I got to
It is-
know so.
Why? You get 2 challenges in the playoffs, plus there's there's possibility of a crew chief review. They really don't force you to not challenge anything in baseball. Like, yeah, that's the only challenge you have, but you can always ask for a crew chief review and they'll go out and do it. So you don't really have much to lose by challenging. I don't know. I thought they should have, but it is one of those situations, and I've mentioned this before, I would have hated that for baseball if video overrules that. That's not what video is for in my book. The guy is leaning down. He's trying not to get hurt. Nobody wants to get hurt on that play. So the tag goes where it goes. The throw beat him. In my view, that has been an out in baseball for 100 years. If you end up calling him safe because he slides under the tag, I get it. And I do actually think replay might have shown that it was very close enough to challenge. But it is another of those things. Like, I want replay in baseball to overturn just bad calls.
Yeah, you want JP last night to tap twice on his helmet. On
I
that.
would have been okay with that one. Yeah, that's a bad call.
Bad call.
But in general, like the ones that are like, I don't need replay to come in and like look at every millimeter. I just don't want it in baseball the way I like it in football.
Yep, fair. All right,
Thought
can we
that might
sneak
get Lyle
sneak
going.
last two?
Just
Sneak
not.
our last 2 in here.
Takeaways.
We were talking on our text thread yesterday about the Seahawks' kind of struggles to run the ball recently and noticing maybe a little drop in offensive line play. And I'm just wondering, this is more of a question than a takeaway, are we missing Robbie Oates maybe more than we've talked about?
Good question, Maura. I had a question on mine as well, which was essentially, Brock, why can't the Seahawks run the ball better?
Yep. Well, I was going to give you that answer.
I mean, their
Salk, and-
offensive line's been great with the pass. I mean, they've been incredible in pass protection.
Yep.
How come they can't run the ball?
Yeah, I think it is a great question for Mike McDonald. He's going to say because of a multitude of reasons. Because on any given play, we're not targeting the right way. Our hands aren't in the right spot. On some given plays, they got more numbers than we do on any given play. We're just not on every last detail of it because we're 5-6 weeks into this system that requires some time on task. I think he's going to say all those things. But I will say this. They are 23rd in the league at 104 yards a game. Not good enough, right? They're 27th in the league at 3.7 yards per carry. Again, not good enough. They're 5th in the league in attempts. So this is not I'm getting away from the run game. No, we want to be a run team. We want to run the ball, and we're going to be committed to doing so. And that commitment to it of being 5th in the league, guess what else that does? Set up that protection. Guess what else that does? Set up A.J. Barner so he can stick the dagger right in the heart of Jacksonville to end that game because that run and that show of run and being committed to that run does have some positive fruit, even if it's not born in rushing yards.
All right, great stuff. Great takeaways on the Mariners and the Seahawks, and just a busy, crazy weekend in Seattle sports. And crazy that the Huskies and Kraken and Sounders, just everybody is winning this weekend. Just one of those moments, Brock, where the vibes are about as high as they could possibly be. So pretty cool time to be doing what we do.
I want winners. And we got winners right now.
Did you like those shots of Tom Moore yesterday? What was running through your head when they were showing Tom Moore
I paused
on
the
TV?
TV. I paused the TV. I said, Molly,
years old.
he's going to be 87 in November, a couple weeks. 87. This guy was old 25 years ago. He was that old 25 years ago. And he's still on the sidelines.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
It is pretty unbelievable.
It still has hair, like great hair, like unbelievable.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good out there.
Smoke like a chimney. Oh, it's amazing. Just amazing. Anywho.
All right, we're going to come back.